Ineffa is the brand new character coming to Genshin Impact for version 5.8. She is looking like the first Nod Cry character coming even before the region drops. And she enables a brand new reaction never before seen in Genshin Impact. So in this video, we're going to go over what her kit is, what it does, what her best teammates might be, how good she looks, and also what this means for the future of Nod Cry and what the regional gimmick looks like it's going to be. This is really exciting. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. By the way, we are doing a giveaway. Thank you again for 100,000 subscribers. If you want a chance to win any Genshin Impact character of your choice, check out my most recent Skirk video for instructions. And also join the Discord and follow my Twitch because 2 giveaways are still coming after this one. First of all, what does she do? What element and stuff? She is an Electro Polearm character. Where have we seen that before? Raiden and Sino are also Electro Polearm characters. She's also an Electro Shielder. Electro Shielder is something that we've never had and is something that is pretty cool and a bunch of characters need, or at least they would like that if they had the right kit. Cloran, Sino, others come to mind. She applies Electro fairly frequently with her skill. This is good for things like Tenacity of the Millilith, proccing potentially Hyperblooms. Burst just does damage. Normal attacks have a vacuum, and I literally mean the animation. The normal attacks don't do anything combat-wise. So yeah, her skill. Her passive is where things get extra interesting. Turns regular Electrocharge into Lunar Charge, which we know Nod characters get their power from the moon. Oh, it wants it to be 1? I don't know. It's fine. You may be wondering, what exactly is Lunar Charge? It's basically Electrocharge, but can crit. On first glance, sounds really, really good and interesting. The problem is, it's going to proc about half as frequently, or even less, than regular Electrocharge. And unfortunately, what that means is the overall damage from the reaction is about the same as regular Electrocharge. Maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. We'll see as the pre-release stuff progresses. But as of now, it's not looking that helpful, which is unfortunate. You're going to see some cool big numbers, but the fact that it only applies every 2 seconds is really kind of bad, to be honest. And it uses the stats of 3 characters to calculate damage, as opposed to Electrocharge, which just uses 1. The last character to apply an element owns the Electrocharge, and whatever their elemental mastery is, that's how Electrocharge is calculated. For this is different. It uses the stats of 3 characters and uses all of their EM and all of their crit, etc. So that's kind of interesting, I suppose, but it's not crazy good. Her other passive buffs EM of the whole team, which is pretty nice. And overall, this is a really cool kit. By the way, I did learn a bunch of this information from the Genshin scientist. Also, of course, I've been studying her for myself. But in terms of like the power and the calculations and things like that, that's not something I do, but that's something he does. So definitely go check his video out if you want a more in-depth information as to how he calculated that and exactly what kind of power levels and how it all kind of works if you want like more nitty-gritty. But in terms of basics, this is how she's looking as her kit as of right now. And of course, lots can change. Recently, less has been changing. So with Skirk, she very minorly changed between the whole beta. Same with the Escoffier. However, she is bringing a brand new reaction. So I could see there being more tweaking, and honestly, I think we will get some more tweaking because otherwise it's going to be a bit underwhelming as it is right now. I think right now she's going to be very creative, and there's going to be a lot of interesting things you can do, but I'm not exactly sure where this character is supposed to be used and what exactly she's supposed to do. It could be that she gets better in Nod Cry, but she also might be like Emily, who we thought would open up a lot of more teams, but really only ended up getting 1 more team with Keqing. So I could kind of see either. Couple more things. She scales with attack. So everything, damage, buffing, etc., is all based on building her on attack. So you just want to build attack on her. I don't know if it's full attack or attack damage crit or attack crit, but we'll get there later. But just so you know, she scales with building attack, and it looks like Tenacity of the Millilith is going to be her general best in slot. At least for attack scaling characters. For others, I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe they'll make a new artifact set that will improve her kit as well going into Nod Cry. Other thing, good personal damage. She has damage just a bit below what Escoffier damage is. I learned that's from Zajef. You can go find him as well. I think he's got a video, or maybe it's on his second channel, the Fan Run channel. But regardless, she has good personal damage. And, you know, that means that she's kind of following, again, this trend that Genshin has of releasing defensive characters where she applies a shield that also has buffing, and in this case, a new reaction and personal damage. It's going to make her a very generally good character, but not a character that has a very specific, really powerful niche. So it'll be interesting to see how powerful she ends up being. The current look is like she's kind of a bit mid, but still like a solid character. So to really figure out where she sits in the meta and how strong she's going to be, let's talk about actually what teams we can make with her. So here she is right here, Ineffa. By the way, looking at her design briefly, I'm a real fan, honestly. It's not like a character that I would go out of my way and go crazy for, but I really like the robot aesthetic. Her animations are super unique, and I feel like she's just a unique, really good character to bring to Genshin. I feel like she's like a niche appeal character, and I feel like that's sort of perfect for a 5.8 patch. I really like the color scheme, very bold, very different from what we have. Doesn't look like a traditional Electro character. Overall, really big fan of her design. We'll talk about it more for the drip marketing release, but let's talk about teams first. So let's talk about standard Electrocharge, or Taser, as some people know it for. The reason why I want to bring this one up first is because this is a team archetype that has gotten quite a bit of love in Natlin, and yet is still really, really bad. So when I first saw Ineffa's kit, I was really expecting Electrocharge / Taser to be where she shone. Something like putting her with Mizuki, maybe Auroron for Scroll, maybe Farina, something like this. I was thinking that this would be really good. So then you get Mizuki scaling the EM, and she buffs Mizuki's damage. And like this turns from like a garbage team into like a really broken team because the reaction's so strong. Currently, it's just not strong enough to be that crazy, but I hope it gets altered. I think it could easily be fixed to be much, much better. Also, by the way, in case there's any doubt that this was in fact a new reaction, tons of characters, kits, descriptions were updated. This is not some throwaway one-time thing. They updated the kits of Aoife, Novelet, the Thundering Fury artifact set, Cyno, Dory, and a bunch more to include Lunar Charged in their calculations for these different characters' passives and things like that. So they are treating this as a brand new reaction, which again, awesome. But in practice, this team so far is just not looking that good. It's not looking that crazy. It's not enough to save Mizuki or Aoife or anything like that. The base reaction is just not strong enough as we currently understand it, which is unfortunate. So the other one is Electro Carry. So like Electro Carry, I mean, right now Chlorand, Taser is her second best team. And right now that team consists of Chlorand, Farina, Yelan, or Auroron instead of Yelan, depending, and like Kazuha or Shalonen. The thing is, putting Ineffa, I mean, it's kind of cool because you get a shielder, which is great for Chlorand here, and we put Kazuha on here, but as TGS Calc, the reaction only ends up being about the same. This team only ends up being about the same as her other Taser variant, which is a really large margin below her overloaded stuff. So unfortunately, this is not really where she's meant to be played either, or at least not. It's just like somewhere where you can play her, but it's kind of cope. It's kind of not that good, especially by today's standards. Like for today's standards, Chlorand Taser, which did fine, and it does fine, but it's less than some of Skirk's non-Escoffier teams, which people say are terrible. So if that's our new standard, you know, then this team is terrible, right? As I was talking to some other creators, the Genshin Scientist and Flip suggested Overvape to be a team, and I was just thinking to myself, like, that sounds good in theory. Like, Overvape used to be a fairly popular thing. It would be something like Hu Tao, Yelan, Fischl, and Singcho or something, and that used to be a fairly popular team. But nowadays, I don't know what exactly we're doing with Overvape. Like, it's either Hu Tao or Arlecchino, some Yelan. So maybe it's like Arlecchino, Yelan. Oh, by the way, I meant to mention this. Raiden's Double Hydra is her best team, and so she's another candidate for this Electro Carry thing. But yeah, back to Overvape. Arlecchino, Yelan, Ineffa, and I guess Bennett. The problem I have with this type of team, though, is that we're sorely lacking in Resistance Shred. We don't have Shalonen or Kazuha on this team, so I just don't expect it to be good. And then we could take out Bennett, but then Xilonen can't shred Electro and Hydro and Pyro. It's just not going to work. So I don't see it. I'm going to put a question mark there, a question mark there, a question mark there. It's like, what is she exactly for if she doesn't work with these? She kind of works pretty good on Hyperbloom stuff. This seems like actually a character that someone could get if they want to build a Hyperbloom team and don't have a Kuki, because she can proc it, she can buff EM, and so she can basically, replace Kuki on this team and be a shielder as well, which is great. But Hyperbloom has fallen off in terms of damage compared to the more modern reactions. And despite her like solid personal damage, which will add to this team and which will be an upgrade, I'm not exactly sure it will bring it up to feeling like current meta team standards. I think it'll be good, but I don't know that it'll be awesome. It's definitely not what her kit is made for, but it's something that her kit definitely has synergy with, but not max synergy. You're still going to get some Electrocharges though, lunar charges, so that's kind of cool at least. Like, I don't know, this kind of almost feels like one of her most synergistic teams, but you actually have to build her wrong for it because you'd build her EM, so she's not actually doing the proper damage. Yeah, that's right. It's this team you have to build her for EM, so she's not building attack, therefore she's not actually doing damage. I guess Cyno is another who wants an Electro Shielder, right? It's kind of a cool option for Cyno. Cyno buff, hooray. But it's unfortunately nothing drastic, which I think Cyno and a lot of the Dendro teams could use something kind of drastic to bring them back up to the modern level. I've saved the best for last, of course, because we can't go a patch without getting a Novelette buff. We get a Novelette buff even in the patch that he was nerfed, you know, with Skirk. He was also buffed because you can use Skirk on his team. Like not nerfed, but they're both competing for the same team, and Skirk does it better. But you can also use Skirk to support Novelette, so it's still technically a Novelette buff. And once again, you can run Ineffa in a Novelette team, and as a C0 Novelette team, running Ineffa as a shielder is really kind of valuable, and having her do a bunch of personal damage, like this is pretty cool. So we can have some good synergy with Kazuha, for example, and then put Xilonen or Farina in the last slot. And I think that this will be a really cool Novelette team. Will it be his best? I don't know. Probably not. But will it be solid? Yeah. So she has like a bunch of cool uses, and she has like a very interesting kit and a lot of interesting uses. It just doesn't seem like she's very strong at the moment, which is okay as long as they fix it and make her stronger. So overall, I'm excited to get her. I'm excited to try her out. The new reaction, the visuals are amazing for it, and it bodes well for the future, because if we're getting lunar Electrocharge, well then that means we're going to get lunar other reactions. What if we get lunar Bloom? What if we get Lunar Freeze as the final slot for the Skirk team, which I keep talking about? We could get Lunar Melt. We could get Lunar Vaporize. It seems like lunar reactions are going to be the gimmick for Nod Cry, and I think that this is just the best gimmick ever. Personally, reactions are the coolest part of Genshin Impact, and sure, you might say, oh, it's lame to lock new reactions behind the new characters, but hey, I think it's cool to expand. It doesn't replace the old reactions. It doesn't make the old reactions obsolete. It's enhancing and adding a new thing to the reactions that's cooler than just new character does damage. It's much more high effort to design new reactions around new characters, and I just think that that's awesome. I think that's going to be really, really fun and add a lot of fun new things to the game and new interactions. Like when we get a new reaction, all of a sudden we're looking at all of these old characters, and I think that they're like testing the waters. They don't want to come out swinging too hard and totally disrupt the meta. So I think that they're easing in, and we'll see it get stronger over time, either throughout the beta or with future stuff. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you're going to get Ineffa. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos on her. And if you don't want to do that, that is totally fine. Just watching the video has been more than enough. Thanks so much. Bye for now.